was born in a little town called Lorman, Mississippi. That's Lorman, Lorman, Mississippi. It's Claiborne County. And when people ask me where I'm from, I could just say it's in between Natchez and Vicksburg, an hour and a half from Jackson. That's it. The only thing we're famous for, if you're black, it's Alcorn State University, an HBCU that Steve McNair played for when he played college football, that used to play for the Tennessee Titans. They ended up getting murdered. And the other thing we're famous for is Grand Gulf Nuclear Power Plant in Windsor Ruins. It's an old slave plantation that burned down, and the only thing was left was the ruins. The ruins did not burn. So that's all my town is known for, is where the population is 1,500, and I am literally related to 1,498 of those people.
Wow.
Black and white. It's crazy. My dad was a construction owner. He owned 2 construction companies, and my mom was basically like a homemaker. My dad was a very respected black man in our small town. He was also the very first African-American motorcycle drag racer for Harley Davidson in Dayton, Ohio. Him and my grandfather left behind a legacy in the construction business down there. I grew up with 7 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the baby of 9 children. My sister is the oldest, and I'm the baby. And my dad always told us that we were the oops babies, the first child and the last child of the oops baby. And coincidentally, both of us are afraid of balloons. It's called globophobia.
Balloons?
Balloons, latex-filled balloons. We are afraid of them. And when people ask us why, I just say, well, maybe it has something to do with the condom breaking, since my daddy told us we was oops babies.
I was trying to figure out what the balloon connection was. Okay,
But for real, that is the thing. I am afraid of balloons, but I'm not afraid of snakes. So when people think that that's funny, I just like to say, hey, if I ever have a snake around you, just know I'm going to throw it on you. Yeah. It's just the same fear. Yeah, now for the right price, I could act like I'm not afraid of balloons, because I have done it at parties and stuff. But inside, I'm screaming.
Is it like something about them popping? Or?
It's the popping, the sound, the people rubbing against them, all of that just,
Okay.
You know, and it doesn't help that now I have PTSD from being in the military and don't like loud popping, unexpected popping sounds, you know. But that's down the line. Yeah. I grew up as, I think, one of the last of the dying breeds of tomboys, you know, the ones that just wanted to climb trees.
Is that a dying breed?
Yeah, right now, because you don't have tomboys anymore. I mean, don't tell, especially certain parents, don't tell them you're a tomboy. Right. They'll just make you a straight little boy now. Or you can't be a tomboy and say, oh, I just like boyish things, without being accused of being gay. So I'm the last of the dying breeds. When I was young, and tomboys was accepted as a girl who just liked to do boy things, right. You know. Mm-hmm. I was born in 1979, so I started riding motorcycles at 4 years old. I got my first 3-wheeler at 4 years old. I got a dirt bike at 5, and I started jumping ramps around 6.
Wow.
So, and I started drag racing at 9, motorcycles. And my brother, right now, my mom's oldest son, he has a motorcycle shop in Mississippi where he builds bikes and repair bikes. And they call him the king of the coast because he's known in the drag racing world as well.
Wow. Do you still ride?
I do still ride. I don't have a motorcycle right now. I'm going to get there. I'm broke bitch famous right now. But as soon as I get just that bitch that's famous, I'm going to get me another motorcycle. I love it. It's one of my passions. I've gotten a little afraid now since I've gotten older. I had crotch rockets. My last bike was a Harley. I like the cruiser bikes now. The other stuff hurt your back.
Pardon my ignorance. Crotch rocket?
Oh, crotch rocket is like a sports bike.
Okay, yeah.
You know, the Suzukis and the Hayabusas and the Ninjas. Those are crotch rockets or sports bikes.
Yeah. How long did you live in Mississippi?
I lived there until I was about 15. My mom and dad had separated for a while, and my mom is from Mobile, Alabama. Mm-hmm. So I went to high school in Mobile, Alabama from the 10th grade until I graduated. My mom ended up moving back home with my dad after my senior year, and I just remained in Mobile. And crazy thing is, coming from Mississippi and going to Mobile, Alabama, to one of the most ghetto ratchet high schools you ever thought you could see. The high school was so black that they put me in the newspaper as being the first white person to attend it. That's a true
Okay.
story. I'm
Wow.
not mixed. I'm not white. I am all black.
Wow.
And that, yeah, they said I was a white girl. It was an experience. I grew up
Mhm.
in Mobile, Alabama. When I got there, I got called a bitch for the first time. That I couldn't call somebody. Say my cousin called me a bitch,
Mhm.
and I was teased and I was bullied for being a nerd and being a
Mm.
pretty girl and having nice clothes. I know,
Mm.
crazy, right?
So you'd outgrown your tomboy phase by that time?
Yeah, I was in my want to be a cute girl phase
Yeah.
now, but I still rode motorcycles.
Yeah.
I still had that in me. But I remember I got picked on so bad, and in the bathroom I would just cry and cry and cry until one time this girl just kept picking on me, and I loved Mickey Mouse, and I remember I had on this blue jean Mickey Mouse jacket, and I had my hair down in the back, and she came and she pulled my hair, and she was like, "This is my seat." And I got up and I moved. And she came over to where I was again. I was like, "This is my seat too." And the next thing you know, I woke up in the principal's office and said, "You sent that girl to the hospital, right?" And I was like, "No, don't remember."
Wow.
After that, I became the crazy girl. I got a boyfriend. Nobody messed with me anymore. It was pretty crazy. And then I ended up getting pregnant my senior year with my daughter, and I graduated with honors. Pregnant with my daughter.
With a boyfriend at the time?
Well, I had a boyfriend at the time. He had a child, but he lived with his parents and everything too. He was a couple of years older than me. All I remember is the day I had my daughter. As soon as I pushed her out, he looked at me and said, "Can I go to the football game now?"
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
wow. But we were young. I was 18. He was like 20. So it didn't really matter to me. I was just happy my daughter was here. That was my first child. I got two children. I have a 19-year-old son. He'll be 20 in March. And two grandkids, a 6-year-old granddaughter and a 3-year-old grandson.
Wow.
I know. That's what you get for having kids so early.
From your daughter or from your
Well, for my daughter.
yeah.
She had her first one at 21. So she did better than me.
Mm.
I tried to do that on purpose. But she had two, and that's all I have. And that's all she's having. She's not having anymore.
Are they in Texas
They're
or
in Mobile,
Mobile?
Alabama. My son, my daughter, and my two grandkids are in Mobile, Alabama. I'm here all alone,
Mm.
no family. Now you guys,
Yeah.
my family.
Did you come straight here from Mobile? Or
No, no, no. I have been so many places since that. I joined the military after that. I went into the Air Force in 2002, and I did 4 years.
what inspired that?
Marijuana.
Marijuana. Do they've got the best weed in the Air Force.
No, 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 not that. I was at school. I had moved back to Lorman, Mississippi when I was around 19, back in with my mom and dad to kind of help with my daughter and
Uh-huh.
everything while I went to school. I went to college at Alcorn. I started at Alcorn. And I used to do hair. I did everybody on campus's hair because my mom lived 2 miles from the campus. So I was right there. I braided hair. I did cornrows. I did micro braids. I did locks, everything. I did the football team hair. Most of them couldn't pay me in money, so they paid me in weed. And I started making edibles. And I started selling these edibles at school. And I was selling the edibles to everybody, my teachers, everybody,
Wow.
and braiding hair. And I wouldn't eat the edibles, but I would always smoke a lot of weed. Because like I said, some people couldn't pay me. They could only pay me in weed. And I took it to braid their hair. So I remember I was smoking so much weed. I was so high that I was trying to write the word THE in class, and I could not. It's something just could not, would not let me write this word right. So I got up and I went in front of the campus union, and I laid in front of the campus union on this oak bench that they had, and I started smoking weed, which was not right to do.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, you can't do that out here. And I was like, you know what? I need to do something better with my life. And I got in my car and I drove an hour and a half to Jackson, Mississippi, to the Metro Center Mall. And as soon as you walked into the mall, they had all 4 recruiters there for the military. I literally walked in and said, "Who has the shortest basic training?" And the Air Force said 6 weeks. I said, "Sign me up because I got to do better." And that's how I joined the military.
Wow.
I never had any intentions on ever going into the military. I just knew that I did not want to get caught in the Bermuda Triangle of my small town where I see so many people get trapped. I didn't think college was going to be fast enough. So the best thing for me to do as a single mother with a 2-year-old that I didn't want to get just be depressed and not have nothing is to go to the military.
Had anyone else in your family been in the military?
My mom has 3 of the 9 kids by my dad, but my mom raised all of the kids. All 3 of my mom's kids have been in the military. My oldest brother, he was also in the military. So, but neither one of my parents. My brothers went to the Army, and they kept telling me, "Don't you go to the military? You better not go to the military. And if you go to the military, you better go to the Air Force." So I did. I went to the Air Force. So it was better. And in 4 years, I went to 3 different bases: Keesler in Mississippi, Kunsan Air Base in Korea, and Bowling Air Force Base in D.C. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
It helped me get my master's degree in civil engineering. And ever since I got out, I had nothing but the best jobs. I've worked for the National Security Agency in Fort Meade. I've worked for NASA in Mississippi at the Louisiana-Mississippi line. And I was the very first woman engineer to work for the light company in my hometown called Southwest EPA.
How did you go from like just out of high school into the military into civil engineering degree?
I went into civil engineering because of my dad. My dad owned 2 construction companies.
Yeah,
So
okay.
as I was in the military, I was taking classes and everything like that where I got my bachelor's. And eventually it led to my master's. I didn't get my master's in 4 years of the
Right.
military, but eventually it led.
Yeah.
Got my bachelor's, and then I got my master's, and I got my professional engineer's license. I was also a surveyor. So I did all of that in about 8 years.
Did the military like whip you into shape then?
No, not with the Air Force back then. The Air Force was like going to college. It was like we never really took authority serious because we also knew that the Air Force was soft. Like I never went through the gas chamber. I've never slept in a tent. You know, I went to Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, which was an Army base for technical school, and the Army hated the Air Force because we got to leave on the weekends. They had to earn to leave. They had to do push-ups whenever when Army told us to do push-up, we just looked at them and say, "Sir, I don't think my chain of command would approve of that." They didn't like that. And first they didn't like to be called sir. So it was a whole big thing. But in basic training, when the drill instructors got up in your face and was hollering at you, my main thing was I knew they couldn't put their hands on me. So I started laughing. So they called me Airman haha, or Airman jokes a lot. Airman think everything's funny. Because I'm just like, who you talking to?
Wow.
Can't do nothing to me. I didn't say that to them, but in my head,
Yeah.
I just laughed at them. Because I'm like, y'all just screaming. And everybody, I used to see these other girls just breaking down, crying. And they actually put me as the squadron leader because they knew I wasn't going to take nothing from them people. And I wasn't going to take nothing from the girls up under me. So it was fun times.
Really?
I wasn't cruel. I just laughed a lot.
Yeah.
I would talk about them. They were like, "I miss my boyfriend." I'm like, "Girl, y'all over here crying over a man that's probably not going to be there when you get back. I have a 2-year-old child at home. I'm not doing all that crying. Shut up. You're going to be gone for 6 weeks. Shut up."
Who was taking care of your child?
My mom and dad. Just this time I was gone to basic training.
Okay.
Well, and tech school. So I'm going to say my mom and dad had my daughter for about 4 months while I did my training. And the other time they had to keep her when I got called to go to Korea, which was a year. But I came home 6 months after. But all of this happened when she was younger. You know, she was no older than 4. So she doesn't remember a lot of it. But that was the best time for me to do it and be away from her. And what I was doing was bettering her, for her, you know.
Yeah. That must have been challenging.
Yeah, it was, but trust me, I can get over a lot of challenges. I've been through a lot of challenges. Nothing has broken me yet.
What did you do in the Air Force?
Civil engineering.
Oh, it was all civil engineering. Okay.
Yep, they taught you everything there was to know about civil engineering, contract management, surveying, cost estimating, GIS servers, everything. And that's what I really appreciated, because if I had gone to college, I wouldn't have gotten that much experience out of just majoring in engineering.
Yeah.
You know, but the Air Force covered all of that. And I only did 4 years, but those 4 years were crazy.
Wow.
But my life has been crazy, so. When I was in Korea, I met my first husband and we got married. And that's when I got stationed at Bowling because he got stationed in Andrews. And 2 years after I was married, we had my son. And then about 6 months after my son was born, we ended up splitting up because became addicted to steroids and going to the gym and abusive. So we found out the best thing was to get a divorce and leave. After that, I ended up moving out of Maryland. I stayed in Maryland for a few years after that. Then I ended up moving back to Mississippi with my mom and dad because my dad had gotten sick. And I got to spend the last year with my dad before he died. So that was like a blessing in disguise. And I was there to help my mom and everything like that. After a while, I ended up getting married to my second husband. We were married for about 3-4 years before that split off. We just gonna say he liked baseball. And he liked to play for both teams. So that was a shock to me. Moved out of that. And right when I left him, I was diagnosed with melanoma. I ended up going into remission with melanoma after a year of chemo and radiation. A few months after that, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. Where I refused to do chemo and radiation. So I started researching Dr. Sabi, and he is a holistic healer. And I did his cell rejuvenation kit. It was a $1,500 kit with natural herbs and things like that. And I went into remission with my breast cancer in 8 months.
Wow.
But I had stage 1A, caught it real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I missed the spot. After I left my husband, I ended up getting hurt on my job. I got hurt on my job, tore my rotator cuff in my back, messed up my back and my neck, had to have surgery. Then I got diagnosed with melanoma. Then I got diagnosed with breast cancer. That's how it went. But anyways, I found myself on my mom's couch with no job, fighting for disability, not knowing that I could go and get my VA disability. I felt useless. My kids are older. I went from all this money, making over $100,000, to living on my mom's couch. I lost everything to my husband in a divorce.
Really?
Yeah. That part of the story I don't want to talk about. But
Okay.
I lost a lot of that. And here I am. My kids are not respecting me anymore because I really can't do anything for them. I'm living with a toxic ass mama who I have to rely on. And my mom is the most loving, caring, giving. Like if I ran out of cigarettes, she would buy me some. If I ran out of weed, she'll find me some. But she was also the most toxic person in my life. And I didn't know that for a while. You know, she turned my kids against me. It was like every time I told them no, she told them yes. And they looked at me as, well, you don't have nothing. So why would we listen to you? We listening to grandma because grandma was the one doing everything for us. But they knew that I was doing what I could when I could. So I actually one night got real depressed. I got a bottle of Jack Daniel honey and I got my 9mm and I drove to IP Casino in Vicksburg, Mississippi and got me a hotel room. And I was going to end it all because I had nothing else to live for. I was like, I made sure I did everything right. I went to school. I went to the military. I wanted to be a wife. And none of this is working out. Like, what else I'm going to do? I don't even want to be here no more. So as I'm in the hotel drinking, I get a phone call on Facebook from a friend that I went to Alcorn with. His name was Corey Richardson. He's a comedian in Gulfport. And he called me. He was like, girl, I just saw you on Facebook, you know, all crying and stuff. You all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He was like, tell me what's going on. So I started telling him. And he started laughing. And I got mad. He said, Niki, I'm not laughing at what you said. I'm laughing at how you said it. He said, you just rambling and going off. He said, and it's funny. He said, you ever thought about doing comedy? I said, no. I said, now I've been asked before, and my response was always, I make $100,000 a year. Why would I go get on stage and make a fool of myself? He said, you should really think about it. Like, for real. He said, I tell you what, I got a show coming up next week. He said, come to Gulfport, which was 3.5 hours away. He said, come to Gulfport. I'll put a few dollars in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Just come up here and just do some time for me. I said, well, how much time? He said, however much time you want to do. I just want you to keep that same energy you had on the phone with me. So I took that as a sign, like, now I got something to look forward to. Maybe I can do this. Let me see if I could do it. I'm not shy. So I talk shit all the time anyways. Let's go. So I put the gun down. I went home, and it actually gave me something to look forward to. And I started writing down stuff, and I started practicing on my people around me, like my cousins, my friend. Nobody would laugh at me. I'm like, so is it not funny? Nobody would laugh at me. So I tore the paper up, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm questioning him like, am I supposed to be writing? Can you help me? And he was like, just do what you do. So I came up there, and I got all my family and friends and everything like that. And it was a packed little house. And I looked around at the other comedians, and they had paper in their hand. And I asked him, I said, am I supposed to have a piece of paper? And he was like, nah. He said, you memorized your stuff? I said, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I said, because I tried that and nobody laughed at me. I said, so I guess I'm not funny. We'll see. I said, I'm nervous. And he was like, well, just talk. I said, well, how much time you want me to talk? He said, just talk. I got up there and I did 27 minutes off the top of my head. And I got a standing ovation when I finished. And I was just venting. And I remember his name is Reginald Austin. You might know him from Martin as Bruh Man from the Fifth Flow, you know. He was in the audience. And he walked up to me and he said, how long have you been doing comedy? I said, I ain't never did comedy before. This is my first time. He was like, there is no way this is your first time. I was like, yeah, it's my first time. And he was like, all right, I got something for you. My very next show, I was performing on stage featuring for Michael Blackson at the Coliseum in Mississippi, the only female on the show. I don't know what I'm doing. It was like so surreal. I went from 0 to 100 overnight and didn't know what I was doing. And that's how I got into comedy.
Did you, at that point, try to like get an act together, or was it
Nope.
just wow?
I thought about some stories that I had going on in my life, and I just started bullet pointing them. And I knew what I wanted to talk about. I knew if I could remember that subject, that I could take that subject and go as long as I needed to with it. And ironically, since I moved to Texas, I was put on the show with Reginald last year in San Antonio as a headliner, and he remembered me.
Wow.
So when he introduced me, he remembered, he said, I met this young lady the first time she did comedy. And he said, I remember this day. He said, and here she is 8 years later. We done crossed paths again. And he introduced me like I was the legend. Like, I'm like, when a legend introduces you like you a legend, you must be really be the GOAT.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. So that was how the universe kind of came full circle with that thing. Wow. But that's how I got into comedy.
Were you a comedy fan before
Nope.
that?
I mean, I've watched comedy before. Like, I used to watch the comedy that people probably didn't get, like Jeff Dunham. Like, if the
Really?
people in my area, no, that's why they don't get my jokes, because I do different types of jokes that, like I watched Seinfeld growing up, where they probably watched Good Times. Now, don't get me wrong, I watched Good Times too, but I also watched Seinfeld and the Andy Griffin Show, because that's what my dad had me watching, and Matlock and, things like that where other kids weren't watching. So my sense of humor comes from my parents and stuff. And they're old. My dad would be 87 this year. My mom would be 77 this year. So that's why I knew I had to get out of that town. That's why they didn't laugh at my stuff. They didn't get the jokes. It's okay.
How long have you been doing comedy?
9 years. I made 9 years on December the 16th last month.
Do you feel like you've grown as a comedian, or have you kind of stuck with what you do and that's kind of your path?
I've grown. I've had different phases I've gone into. I've had those phases where I tried to be a calm comedian. I've tried to be like other comedians because I've never had no formal training,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been doing this by myself for so long. It wasn't up until I started comedy in 2016. So this year is coming up on my 10 years in December. I'm going to say around 2020, I met up with Marcus Combs. And Marcus Combs is out of Chicago, but he lived in Atlanta, and he's one of Chicago's legends of comedy. And he was on Def Comedy View, Def Jam Comedy, all of that, Bad Boys of Comedy. And I met him at a BT urban ski weekend that I was booked for. And he basically fell in love with my comedy. And he started putting me on bigger shows when he came into town featuring for him, or if he went out of town somewhere and I was able to get there, he'll have me fly there. And he took me under his wing. And I remember the first thing he did was teach me how to bomb, because in 4 years I had never done an open mic and I had never bombed because I was just on a roll, you know. So I remember he made me come to Atlanta, and he sent me to this club called BQE, and the host name was Doodoo Brown. And I remember when I first got there, I pulled up to the club looking for somewhere to park, and this man just comes out of nowhere and say, "You want your car valet parked?" And there was absolutely nowhere for him to park my car. I knew he wasn't a real valet parker. Then I get in the club, and it was set up like a bar, and I wasn't used to doing bar shows because every show I had done up until then were like shows that people put on to have. Not, we didn't have comedy clubs in Mississippi. You know, we just had where people would rent out like the Elks building or event hall and have a comedy show. So they came for comedy, they paid for comedy, that's what they're gonna get. So I pull up to a bar show, not knowing that people at the bar playing cards and chess over here and people talking and what's going on. So the first person gets up there and they get booed off the stage. I was like, well, I know I'm funnier than them. I'm not worried. The next person gets up there and they started throwing stuff at the guy. And I'm like, and these are all black people, by the way,
Wow.
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We in Atlanta. And then I get up there and they start cussing me out and drowning me out and coming up on the stage twerking on me, and I just walked off the stage. So when I called Marcus and I said, he said, "How you feel?" I said, "I feel like I might need to try basket weaving because comedy ain't for me." He said, "Niki, I've been doing comedy for over 25 years. They do me the same way when I go in there." He said, "That was because you I've never bombed." He said, "But I'd rather you bomb in front of those 15 people than in 15,000. Now you see how I feel." He said, "Because you probably would want to commit suicide if you did it in front of a whole coliseum full of
Yeah.
people." He said, "Now you got that feeling out of the way. So now if I feel like I do bad, I don't want to quit, but it does bother me subconsciously. Like I can't sleep because I toss and turn. Like why did I say that? I said it like this, you know." But I've gone through several stages of changes in my comedy career, and I feel like I can continue to change. I'm always looking to change because after this 10th year, if I haven't made my bank account look to reflect what I have done in comedy, I'm gonna just sit back in the background and write for somebody else or produce because I'm tired.
Yeah.
In my 9 years, I've done 34 states, over 2,000 shows. This has been a full-time job. I've not had a second job, any help in finances when it comes to this. I have funded this all out of my pocket until 2019 when I started receiving my VA benefits.
Wow.
So it's been a struggle. That's why I say I'm broke bitch famous, because everybody know me but my bank account. I've been at comedy clubs, from the Comedy Store, all around the world. People know who I am, but I don't know what it is, if it's just not my time or what's going on. And I don't question no more. Whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to do it.
Are you currently touring or just playing around Austin, Texas?
I'm going right now with whoever calls me. I'm not touring or doing anything like that.
When you did travel, was it with did you have an agent or did you just
Never had an
word of
agent.
mouth, just
I've
get in the
been
car?
my own agent. I have done things like drive to shows to talk to the comedians or the promoters to say, "Hey, Can I get 2 minutes? Can I get 5 minutes? Let me show you, that I'm funny. I promise you I am. And like, I've driven from Mississippi to St. Louis for $50 and slept in my car just to be put on the show, just so people could know me. One thing about me, if I like something, I strive to be the best at it. And people was like, oh, you try to be better than me. No, I try to be the best at whatever I do. But what I'm not going to do is apologize because my best is better than yours. Mm-hmm. I'm just naturally good at things. You remember when we were what was that, Thanksgiving or Christmas, when we were playing the little categories game? Like, nobody believed that I've never played that game before. Like, it's just sometimes it happens, and I'm just really good at things when I try, when I first do them, especially if I like it, And I've been like that my whole life. If I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I'll still do it, but I don't care about doing it as much.
It seems like good, successful comedians have like a really strong work ethic, and they just have to keep going.
Yeah, I have a great work ethic when it comes to comedy.
Yeah, that's all I was talking about. I'm not trying to get on you about anything else.
No, I'm about to say any other job I could probably care less about. Like, comedy has been my most dedicated thing to do. I guess because, and what's crazy is that I put more effort that I've ever done in any job that I've had before in comedy. And I do get a lot of recognition. I have gotten a lot of recognition. But I get less recognition from when I was in jobs that I didn't do nothing at. Like when I worked at Fort Meade, I'm not going to lie, I did nothing. And I got all kind of awards. I'm like, I'm employee of the month. Yeah, sure, me. The boss found asleep at a desk the other day. My boss literally came into my office one day and I was knocked out because I was high. Oh my God. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, Nikki. Are you sleeping? I'll come back later.
With your award.
Yeah, with your Employee of the Month award. It's all good. I miss those days, though. I miss the checks.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're pursuing comedy in this way because you're just driven to make a career out of it, or do you get a thrill out of, performing?
I'm not going to say a thrill. I feel like at this point in my life, it's my purpose. And that's one of my lines. Comedy wasn't my dream. It's my purpose. I call myself the minister of laughter because I'm an open book. I share the stupid shit I do, from the dumb shit to the good things that I've done, the decisions I made, and to become the person that I am. I used to didn't be a good person. I used to be a compulsive liar. I used to pull pity stuff on people. I made the conscious decision that I did not want to be that person anymore. I mean, I just wanted to be a better person all around. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing good. It's not like I said, it's not a thrill. It's like, it's what I'm supposed to do until God tell me to stop. I've followed my spirit for the past 4 years on a lot of things. And it seems like every time I ignore it is when things go wrong. So this is what I'm supposed to do until I'm told to stop. That's how I got here in Texas. After everything I went through from 2023 up until December 24th of 2023, I just prayed and asked God to take me out of Mississippi. I didn't know where to go.
What was happening in Mississippi?
So, that's a story. So, I'm gonna leave out a lot. I'm gonna go straight to it. I got married for the third time June 21st of 2023. I had to commit my husband on July 21st of 2023 because he displayed so many personalities that I'd never seen before. I don't know, it's like a light switch or something went off in his head. And if it hadn't been for my Ring camera, people would have thought I was crazy. And when he got out, about a week later, he tried to kill me.
Back it up a little bit. What do you mean you had to commit him? I mean, he was like schizophrenic?
Yeah, he went crazy. He called the police on me acting like a little girl, and then came in acting like a demon. Then he came in acting like a woman, talking about, what'd he say? Mommy, I don't know where the water is. It's not where it used to be. And I'm like, what the hell is, I'm like, oh I got to be, where is Ashton? Somebody is punking me. I'm like, this can't be my life. And that's one of the phrases. I'm like, this cannot be my life. Yes, it can. And it was just crazy. It was scary to me, to see this man just go from here to there? And then doing some investigation, someone told me that he had secretly started doing cocaine. And I'm like, why didn't I know this? You know, I knew he smoked weed, but he hid that very well from me during the whole dating process. You know, like, I don't know what's happening. So August the 9th, we had a court date for me to press charges on him because he had violated the restraining order, coming to the house after I committed him, sending my pictures of my address, my house to other people, telling them to come after me and stuff like this, all because I committed him on his actions now.
How did you commit him?
Oh, in Mississippi, you can have anybody committed.
Really?
I could have you committed and don't even know you. As long as I got your last name,
Yeah.
I think something's wrong with him, they'll come and pick you up. But this was my husband, so I had proof of what had happened.
Yeah.
But they still let him go the next day. So on August the 9th, he caught me coming from a show in Gulfport, and he blocked my car off, and he pulled me out the car, and he beat me on the side of the road, recorded it, as he was saying, "Look at your funny comedian now. She's not laughing, is she?" He tore my rotator cuff, my bicep, and he gave me a concussion. He took my car. He ran my car out of gas, cut my phone cord. My phone died. So it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm walking down the street. I found my car out of gas, no phone. So I had to walk to find a gas station to call somebody that I can remember a number to come and get me. And by the time I made it to the courthouse to tell them what had happened, they had thrown the case out of the court. And when I tried to get another restraining order, they tried to charge me for it. And I said, okay. Well, I tell you what, he didn't need that piece of paper to continue to beat me. I don't need it either. So I left there, got on my knees, and I prayed to God about what to do. I kept hearing Austin, Texas, Austin, Texas. At the time, I had a 17-year-old son. We were not doing good, trying to raise a 17-year-old son as a single parent who just married a man that he don't understand really what's going on. He didn't like the idea that I got married again anyways. I needed some help. So I called a friend of mine that was from my hometown. He needed help. So we made a deal. I was like, hey, I need some protection. I don't trust this husband. My son doesn't feel really safe here. You know, can you come and help me out? And I'll help you get a job and everything. I'll take care of the bills, you know, because this has been my childhood friend from 8 years old. He's like family. So he moved in and, you know, just to help me and my son out with the chores and stuff. He got a job. Because of the VA, my surgery for my arm wasn't scheduled to November. From August to November, I had to wait with a torn rotator cuff and bicep. When I got home off the operating table, I came home, my son had ran away from home. I didn't know where he was for 7 days. Right after getting off the operating table, I'm calling my mom and everybody. Everybody's lying to me. He's at my mom's house. But nobody, I'm like, Mom, if he's there, just let me know. Now, my son ran away because I wouldn't let him buy a car. That's a whole nother story. But grandmama said she'll let you buy a car. So that gave him enough to run away from. So again, I got on my knees and I prayed to God. And I said, God, take me out of Mississippi where I need to go. He said, Austin, Texas.
Had you been to Austin before?
Never been to Austin. Didn't know nobody here. So December the 24th, I packed up everything I could in my little Infiniti Q50, put everything else in storage, and I drove to Austin, Texas. I spent the 24th and the 25th in a hotel room, and on the 26th, I moved into a place right around the corner from here on 2222 off Highland Hills Drive. Didn't know anything about the comedy scene. My friend that was with me, he drove up here with me. And to help me get, you know, situated and everything. This was not that type of relationship. It was just a friend. I said, I'm going to start looking for open mics. So the first open mic I went to was the tiniest bar in Texas. And I remember seeing nothing but me in there. And when I signed up, the guy was like, you do comedy? I said, is it against the law for women to do comedy in Texas? I don't know. I just got here. I don't know. And he was like, yeah. So since I see everybody was staring at me, I got on stage and roasted every man that was in there. And I got off the stage. And I was like, now can I do comedy? And everybody started clapping. So that was on a Tuesday. The next thing I saw was something called Kill Tony, another open mic. Now, when I went to this open mic on Tuesday, I was dressed up because I'm used to dressing nice to go to my shows. When I saw people in sweatshirts and hoodies, plus this place was outside in December, it was cold. So I was like, I'm not dressing up to go to this stuff. Another open mic where it ain't gonna be nothing but a bunch of men. So I just I had on some John Deere tractor boots. I needed a haircut. I looked horrible that day. I had my arm in a sling. And when I pull up, I'm like, I'm supposed to go to the HEB Center. Me and my friend pulled up to a grocery store. And I looked at him, I said, now I have done comedy on a shrimp boat. I've done comedy in the woods. But I don't think we're finna do comedy by the produce section. I think we at the wrong place. And I looked at it again, said HEB Center. Still not knowing what the HEB Center is. I pull up to this big ass Coliseum and I'm like, where am I at? And they were like, this is Kill Tony. I'm like, what happens here? They were like, this is the largest comedy podcast in the world. I'm like, what we coming to? They was like, you got to go around there and sign up. So I get there and I see all these people online. I said, sign up for what? I said, hey, excuse me, what is this? They was like, this is Kill Tony. I said, I ain't never heard of Kill Tony. What Tony do to us? Why we killing him? And they was like, no, you just sign up. I said, well, how many people sign up? They're like 300-400. I said, how many people they pick? They're like 5, 6. I said, oh, hell no, I'm going home. I'm going home. I was like, man, I'm not doing this shit. Like, the hell? It ain't, first of all, it ain't number white people out here. The hell? My friend was like, nah, we came out here. You out here for a reason. And I'm like, all right. So we sat in the car and we smoked the blunt. I'm looking at the people. I'm like, so I guess I'm going to go stand in line. And I stood in line. I signed up. And after I signed up, we was walking back to the car. And this guy with a camera walked up to us and said, he thought the guy with me. He said, you do comedy? He's like, nah, she do comedy. He's like, you do comedy? I'm like, damn, is it against the law for women to do comedy in Texas? Like, do I not look like I do comedy? And then he was like, you mind giving me an interview? I was like, no, I don't mind. So I gave him an interview. And after that, he was like, you just gave me one of the best interviews I've ever had. He was like, I hope you get picked. I said, I hope I do too. Tell him Niki Coleman sent you. And I went and sat back in the car. So they brought everybody into the HEB Center. Now, this was the very first HEB Center New Year's Eve episode. Her very first arena show. I remember going in and they took my phone, they locked it up. I'm going and I'm watching this. I'm like, what the fuck is this, bruh? What is this? People was out there. The very first girl they pulled, she had never did comedy in her life before. I'm like, why is she here? I'm just confused with what's going on. Like, what is this? Jelly Roll singing in the national. I'm like, where am I? I was like, that's the real Jelly Roll? I'm like, bro, I have no clue where I'm at. I've never seen this stuff before. They was like, you don't watch this? I'm like, no. So I went outside. I was smoking cigarettes at the time. I went outside to smoke a cigarette and I saw the same guy that had interviewed me. He was smoking too. So when we finished, we had to give them my phone back to lock it up. Mm-hmm. He was behind me coming through, the guy that interviewed me. And when I handed my phone to the people to lock it up, he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, do you need your phone for your notes? Mm. I said, what? And my friend was like, nah, she don't need no notes. And he said, you ain't catch that? He said, that meant something. I said, it probably ain't mean nothing, you know, like, so I went back in the audience, back in the little section where they had for the contestants. And I'm like, I can't watch this shit. 3-4 more comedians, they started singing. And I'm like, I can't watch this shit. Like, oh my God, I'm going to the bathroom. And as I'm in the bathroom, all I hear is, Niki, come on, they just called your name. I said, who called my name? It was like, they called your name. You a pre-pool. I said, what the fuck is a pre-pool? They just like, get up on stage. I'm like, oh my God. And next thing you know, I'm on the 8 on stage. Got to do jokes in 60 seconds, something I never did before. Wow. And whatever I did, I guess I did it right because I got a standing ovation in the HEB Center.
You just had 1 minute?
Yeah, 60 seconds. I went over the time, and the bear usually throws dildos at people who go over the time. They told him, don't you throw that. They told him no. Out of all the people there, I was the only one who did good. And they told me, thank you for saving the show.
Wow.
Yeah, I got booked to do the Secret Show at Sunset Strip. I got booked to do the Bottom of the Barrel at the Mothership right on stage. Then when I went to the thing, they gave me this big gel blaster gun and the big Kill Tony book. And I'm like, what did I just do? I'm still clueless to what I did. And Jelly Roll grabbed me and hugged me. I'm like, I don't know what I just did.
Wow.
And I was like, I think I need to go home. And when I came out, people just started rushing me and hugging me. I remember Cam Patterson. He was like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, what did I do? Because I look at that clip and feel like I would have never done that sit on stage anywhere else. I would have never talked like that. Like, what got into me? And that's how the world from Texas knew Niki Coleman in 2 days. On a place I'd never been and a show I ain't never heard of.
In December. So the
December
end of the
24th.
Christmas to New Year's. That's two years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago when I first got here. So my next thing I did, I produced my first show in February, and I had Cam Patterson, David Jolly, all the Kill Tony people on there. And I sold it out. And I'm like, you know what? In my hometown, I never did this. Nobody ever came to my stuff. Now here I am in a state that I've never been in before, and people never heard of me, but I just sold out my first show. I'm like, I must be doing something right. I listen to my spirit. I don't ask no questions. If God tells me to get up about right now and walk out of this podcast and never talk to Adam again, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I got to go.
Yeah. Don't ask any questions of God right now.
That's my story of how I got to Texas. I still have not talked to my son or my kids or anybody since I moved, since November 21st, 2023.
Have you tried reaching out? Mm-hmm. Do you know where they are? Are they with your mother?
Nah, my mom is in Mississippi still. My kids, as far as I know, they're in Mobile, Alabama, doing great. Well, to a certain extent, but they're good. They know I'm here. They have every avenue to contact me. I didn't do anything to my daughter. I don't know why she stopped talking to me. I guess I just taken up for a little brother. But, the crazy part is that no one ever called me to ask me what happened. Nobody even, it was the fact that you couldn't even tell me he was okay. He was going to be 18 in a few months. I would have let him stay. I just wanted to make sure he got into school and finished school because he was a senior. Mm-hmm. So I found out that my son was graduating like that February because I didn't even know if he was in school because I hadn't heard from anybody. Mm-hmm. And my sister ended up telling me, your son's graduating in May. And I'm like, well, that's good. So I ended up calling the school to see how did they get him enrolled in school if nobody ever contacted me. They had my son enrolled as a homeless child because they didn't want to call me to take accountability for answering to me of why they let my son run away. Because if I had to run away to my grandmama's house when I was little, my grandmama would have beat my ass all the way back home. Especially if I would have said, because she won't let me buy a car. If she wasn't going to even listen to what my reasoning was, because she was going to tell me my mama knew best. But my mama didn't do that. And that hurt my heart. And that's why I had to cut off the toxic people in my life. Because if I would have stayed in that situation, I wouldn't be here. And people look at it like, I don't care. Oh, I care. I cry myself to sleep a lot of nights, missing my kids. But I can't stay there. I got to keep going. Because I ain't going to do myself no good worrying about it. I've done right. I've forgiven myself. I've forgiven them. And they coming back. But the rest of my family, I never want to see it again. I had to tell my mom, you're dead to me. Because no amount of pain whatever let me forgive you for why would you take my kids away from me? That's all I got. So I'm at peace with knowing that my family and everybody is still alive, but dead to me. I just want my kids to come back in my life, And it's crazy how I never wanted anything but love from my family, but I messed that up because I let them take over advantage of me. I I never spoke up for myself. And when I started, I became a problem. So now I have a tattooed on my chest that it says it took me quite a long time to develop a voice, and now that I have one, I will not be silenced. And that's why I do comedy. That's why I tell my story. It's so many people out here hurting and don't know how to deal with it without going to drugs or alcohol, suicide. But for some reason, God made me strong and resilient. So I need to share that with other people to let them know that you can be too. And you can be able to make a conscious decision to be a better person. But that path is going to be lonely as hell for a while because nobody wants to believe you that good person. They don't want to let go of the past, and they don't want you to know that they don't like seeing you being better than they are because they couldn't do it. So I've dealt with all of that. And it's hard to maintain friendships, family, relationships, and everything because I'm like this. But I won't back down. I could care less. I'm at peace with dying absolutely alone. And it's sad because I don't want to, but I can't choose that. Sorry. That was a little emotional part.
That's fine. You feel like you have some new network of friends here, like people that like
Hell no, I ain't got not one. Yes.
I was like, what?
Yes, because I've been here alone.
Yeah.
My first year, I had gotten to know a few comedians that turned out like my relationships, people tend to become obsessed with me, whether it's female friends or whatever. And then when they do that, because I have a light, and I'm not bragging on myself, I'm just being honest. And my light attracts the prettiest things and the shittiest things, especially those that have mental illness, you know. And I'm a healer. So I used to try to fix everything. Now I just leave crazy folks alone. But when people can't get me to do what they want me to do, that pisses them off. When I won't agree with them on certain things, that pisses them off. When I make them be accountable for what they do to me, that pisses them off. So I've pissed everybody off, you know, except for you guys right now. So you guys are
Don't push it, Niki. No.
It's all right. It's okay. I'm used to it. Like, I have to let everybody know that if I can live without my mama, who I love more than anything in this world, and my kids, if I can cut them out to maintain my peace, anybody else is easy. And then I get accused of you never did care, or you being nonchalant, or you got your heart protected. Of course I do. Who wants to just be hurt? And why would you want to see me hurt? That's another question I have to ask myself. Like, I don't want to see you hurt. So I'm an empath and I hate it. I'm what you call a heyoka empath. It's one of the most powerful empaths if you believe in that type of thing. I'm called the sacred clown, where I make people mirror themselves. I mirror people, or I make you see your true self. And you either gonna want to change or you want to get the hell away from me before I show it to everybody else. So I call myself Jesus Sister. I'm born on September the 24th. And it seems like everything's happening on the 24th. I moved here on the 24th. I just moved again into my new condo on the 24th.
I'll try to get this out by the 24th.
My son's birthday is March 24th. I wish it could just play a lottery number, just 24. I still wouldn't win. Pick one number right. Yeah. That ain't it.
Cool. And do you have a website or socials at least?
Yes.
Yeah.
My website is NikiColeman.com. My Instagram is Niki Coleman _comedy. That's with 1K, Niki. Facebook is Niki Coleman. TikTok is comedian Niki Coleman. And you can just Google me. Just Google me. You'll see the movie I'm in. You'll see a lot of the things that I've done, my skits and everything. I got a YouTube page that hopefully we're going to get Scott to reconstruct and put all the good videos out there for me. Because I never had help. I've been doing this by myself, and between my ADHD, the stress I go through, and just daily life, something else. And I'll do it on a disabled veterans budget. I spend out more money in comedy than I make. That's all right. I'm gonna do a crowdfunding thing whenever I can find out how to work Kickstarter. It's kicking my ass.
Yeah. Good luck. Let me know what you learned.
I take it you had the same problems.
It's been fun chatting, Nikki. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Damn, we've been talking this long?
I guess so. All right. I'd like to thank my guest, Niki Coleman, once again for chatting with me. I'll leave links for her in our show notes so you can keep up to date with her activities. And if you want to keep up to date with Friends with Deficits, you can sign up for our newsletter at friendswithdeficitspodcast.com. Also, please like, share, and tell your friends with deficits and without about the show. And if you'd like to become a patron, visit patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. I'm your host, Adam Sultan. May your light always attract the prettiest things.